The doctor slipped me a secret note: "Don't go home. Run." I had no idea that night I'd uncover a plan that would make your blood run cold. If you love stories where betrayal meets poetic justice, hit subscribe and stick around. This one's unforgettable. My name is Helen, and I'm 72. For most of my life, I believed I'd raised a good man. David came into my arms at age 2, a fragile boy I adopted with my late husband. I gave him everything: love, education, sacrifice. After my husband passed a decade ago, David, his wife Lydia, and their daughter Chloe became my world. That Tuesday changed everything. At my regular doctor's appointment, Dr. Turner seemed off. His hands trembled as he checked my blood pressure, and his voice was tight when he said, "Everything looks great, Helen. Strong heart." Many years ahead. But as I turned to leave, he slipped a folded note into my purse. "Take care of yourself. And remember, family isn't always what it seems." In the taxi home, my heart raced. When I arrived, I found David, Lydia, and Chloe whispering in the living room. They froze the moment they saw me. Lydia hastily hid some papers. "How was the checkup, Mom?" David asked with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Perfect. The doctor says I'm healthy as ever." They exchanged looks, not of relief, but disappointment. Chloe forced a brittle smile. "That's great, Grandma. More years to enjoy." Her tone was icy. That night, their coldness wrapped around me like fog. After dinner, I finally sat alone in my room and unfolded the note. "Helen, your family came to see me yesterday. Lydia asked me to certify that you need special care. They want to put you in a nursing home and access your assets. Don't go home. Run." My hands shook. My own son. The daughter-in-law I treated like a daughter. My granddaughter, my pride. Suddenly, every strange look, every hushed conversation made sense. Around 2 a.m., I heard voices in the kitchen. Quiet, but clear. I crept to the door. "That doctor's useless," Lydia hissed. "He refused to say she's losing her mind." "Don't worry," David replied coolly. "We'll find another who'll sign the papers." "And what about my tuition?" Chloe's voice was sharp. "I need that money now, not when she finally kicks the bucket." David sighed. "The house alone is worth $500,000. Add her pension, savings, we'll live comfortably. But we need to act fast." Lydia's voice was pure ice. "I didn't marry you to babysit some senile old woman. 10 years I've waited, and she's still here." My chest burned. "Tomorrow," David said, "I'll talk to a lawyer. Maybe we can declare her incompetent without medical backing. And if that fails," Lydia added, "we'll make her life hell until she gives up. Take her TV, stop cooking, isolate her. She'll break." I covered my mouth to keep from gasping. Then came the words that made my blood freeze. "We'll switch her meds, hide her things, make her doubt her mind," David whispered. "In a month, any doctor will certify she's insane." Lydia laughed. Chloe joined in. They laughed like villains in a bad movie, except this was my life. They thought I was powerless, alone. But I had a secret. Years ago, my husband left me a 2 million Swiss account and 3 foreign properties. I'd hidden it all, wanting David to build his own life. He never knew. By dawn, I'd made my decision. I packed essentials and slipped out before sunrise. But not before one last trick. I recorded their morning whispers through my phone. David bragged about visiting a lawyer. Lydia mocked me as pathetic and dependent. They were wrong. By noon, I'd withdrawn $10,000 in cash, verified my secret accounts, and checked into a luxury hotel under a different name. For the first time in decades, I made a decision just for myself. Then I hired Grant Mason, one of the city's best attorneys. I played him the recording. His face hardened. "This isn't just betrayal," he said. "This is criminal conspiracy, elder abuse, fraud, attempted document forgery." I looked him in the eye. "I want them to pay, but strategically." Slowly, he smiled. "Mrs. Pergier, Mrs. Helen, they picked the wrong woman." That night, my phone lit up with dozens of missed calls. "Mom, where are you? David sounded more panicked than loving. I lied smoothly, just taking a day for myself. The panic in his voice told me everything. He'd lost control. The next morning, Grant's investigator returned with shocking findings. Lydia had taken out 5 credit cards in my name, racking up $43,000 in luxury spending, including a Cancun trip. David had lost his job 8 months ago. Chloe, 3 months pregnant by a married man. And Lydia? She'd been having a 2-year affair with our neighbor. The mask had fallen. That afternoon, wearing a black dress and fresh haircut that made me feel powerful again, I called David. He tried to play the concerned son. I let him talk and recorded every word as he subtly planted the "she's acting strange" narrative. Then I said calmly, "I know everything. The cards. The doctors. The lies. Silence." Then stammering, "David," I said, "you have one chance to confess. Or I'll see you in court." He called me delusional, so I hung up. The war had begun, and this time I held the cards. The days that followed were a carefully orchestrated chess game. David and Lydia still believed I was the naive old woman they'd manipulated for years. I let them think that. Meanwhile, Grant Mason's team gathered evidence like hawks circling prey. Their desperation grew fast. David showed up at my bank claiming I'd suffered a psychotic break and that he needed temporary access to my accounts. The bank manager refused without legal documents and later reported the incident to my lawyer. Lydia started selling my antiques online. Chloe told her friends I had advanced Alzheimer's, borrowing money under the guise of Grandma's medical bills. Each move they made dug their hole deeper. The investigator delivered the most chilling update yet. David, Lydia, and Chloe had met with a known forger named Paul Stevens, famous for faking medical records. They wanted documents proving I was mentally incompetent. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was organized crime. Grant called me, "Helen, it's time for Phase 2. Phase 2 was simple but brilliant. We wouldn't just expose them, we'd let them expose themselves, publicly. The next morning, I dressed elegantly and met a luxury realtor named Richard. I toured high-end properties, pretending I was ready to buy a $1 million home. At 11:00 a.m., right on schedule, David, Lydia, and Chloe walked through the same office doors, dressed up like respectable heirs. "We'd like to sell a property," David told another agent. "It's my mother's house. She's unwell, but we have power of attorney." Power of attorney. They didn't have a single legal document. I stepped down the staircase slowly. "Oh, hello, family," I said sweetly. The color drained from their faces. Lydia's mouth opened like a fish. Chloe whispered, "Oh my God, I see you're trying to sell my house," I continued. Interesting choice of words about power of attorney. "Richard, meet my loving family." The entire lobby fell silent. When Lydia claimed I wasn't well in the head, I raised my voice so everyone heard. "Not well? That's why I'm buying a $1.5 million property with my own money?" I called Grant on speaker. "My family is here trying to sell my house without authorization. Send someone to document this." Within minutes, 2 lawyers and a notary arrived. They asked David for legal proof. He stammered, tried to improvise, then gave up. I pulled out my phone and played their secret recording. "We'll switch her meds, hide her things, tell her she did stuff she didn't do. In a month, any doctor will certify she's insane." David's voice echoed across the lobby. Gasps filled the room. Lydia panicked. Chloe froze. Richard, the realtor, looked horrified. "Mrs. Helen," he said, "we'll make sure this attempt is fully documented." I walked out with my head high while they trailed behind me on the street, alternating between shouting and begging. "Mom, wait, we can fix this," David pleaded. "No," I said calmly, "family doesn't forge documents. Family doesn't plan to destroy your mind." Lydia dropped the act entirely. "You're a bitter old woman," she screamed. "David gave you his best years, and this is how you repay him?" I turned from the taxi window. "You mean the years I worked myself to the bone to raise him?" "Those years?" Their screams faded as the taxi pulled away. That was the moment the balance shifted completely. That same day, Grant called again with explosive news. David had just paid Paul Stevens $50,000 upfront to forge medical records and a fake will. What David didn't know was that Paul Stevens was an FBI informant. The transaction was recorded by federal agents. David and Lydia had just stepped into a federal conspiracy case. I didn't confront them immediately. Instead, I went live. That night, I created a live stream titled, A Grandmother's Truth. At first, only a handful of viewers tuned in, but as I spoke, clearly, calmly, detailing decades of sacrifice and the betrayal I'd uncovered, thousands joined. I told them about the secret note from Dr. Turner, the forged credit cards, the forger, the recordings. I played the audio. I held up evidence. The comments exploded with outrage and support. Halfway through, Chloe called me live. Her voice cracked. "Grandma, turn it off. You're ruining our lives." "I'm ruining your lives?" I asked. "You plotted to destroy mine. My friends are watching, my teachers. Please stop." "How do you think I'd have felt being locked in a nursing home, declared insane, while you spent my money?" She stammered, then fell silent. Thousands of viewers heard her implicit guilt live. 5 minutes later, David called, furious. "Mom, shut that down now or I'll sue you for slander." "Slander?" I replied calmly. "Is it slander to play your own words planning my destruction? Or to mention your $50,000 payment to an FBI informant?" He went silent. "Check the news tomorrow," I added. "Or wait for the knock on your door." The chat went wild. FBI. Justice for Grandma. The stream ended with over 7,000 live viewers. By morning, it had gone viral. Messages flooded in, from elderly viewers thanking me, lawyers offering pro bono help, social workers saying they'd stop similar abuses after watching. Grant called at 9 a.m. "Helen, your broadcast just handed us gold. The DA wants to file criminal charges." Sarah's call and David's silence during the live stream are technically partial confessions. Their lawyer scrambled, burning through more stolen money to hire a top defense attorney. But Lydia made her biggest mistake yet. She secretly mortgaged my house for $200,000 using forged documents. The money? Gone? $50,000 to the forger, $30,000 to the lawyer, and the rest to cover their credit card fraud. We moved fast. Court orders were filed. Evidence mounted. A week later, I returned to my house accompanied by lawyers and a court officer. The home I'd once kept spotless looked like a frat house. Trash, alcohol bottles, neglect everywhere. "Mom, what are you doing here?" David asked nervously. "Collecting what's mine," I replied. Lydia tried to block the door, screaming, "This is our house now." My lawyer's voice was ice. "Do you have documents proving ownership?" she faltered. Of course she didn't. Upstairs, my jewelry box was ransacked. My diamond earrings, pearl necklace, and emerald bracelet were gone, the pieces my husband gave me over our life together. "Where's my jewelry?" I demanded. "What jewelry?" Lydia lied. I put the investigator on speaker. He listed every piece she'd pawned. Lydia turned pale. "You have 24 hours to return everything," I said coldly, "or I file additional theft charges." From the kitchen, I overheard them whispering in panic. "We need the jewelry back," David hissed. "I can't," Lydia snapped. "I sold it for $50,000 to pay Paul. You sold $100,000 worth of jewelry for $50,000? Their panic was music to my ears. When I walked out with my belongings, David shouted, "We're family, Mom." "We can fix this." I turned, my voice steady. "Family is built on love, respect, and trust. You destroyed all three. We're not family anymore, we're opponents in court." And I meant it. The weeks leading up to the trial felt like a storm gathering strength. Every day brought new revelations, new evidence, and a sharper sense of who my enemies really were. Not strangers, but the people I once called family. One afternoon, my phone rang unexpectedly. It was Chloe. Her voice was trembling. "Grandma, can we talk?" "Just us." I almost hung up, but something in her tone was different. "Broken. We met at a cafe in the hotel lobby. She arrived looking exhausted, makeup smudged, hair messy, eyes swollen from crying. "I can't keep living like this," she blurted out. "I never wanted it to go this far." "How far did you think was acceptable?" I asked quietly. "At first, Mom and Dad just talked about convincing you to move into a nice nursing home. They said it was for your own good. I believed them." She stared at her hands. "But when Mom found out you could live another 20 years, she said she couldn't wait that long. She needed the money now." "For what?" Chloe hesitated, then whispered, "Dad owes over $100,000 to dangerous people. Sports betting. And I needed money for college. And for other things." Her hand drifted to her stomach. I understood immediately. "You're pregnant," I said. She nodded, tears streaming down. "The father's married. He doesn't want anything to do with me." I was terrified, so I went along with their plan. I told myself it wasn't that bad. I thought they just wanted you in a care home. I didn't know they planned to drive you crazy. I stayed silent, letting her words sink in. "But now," Chloe continued, voice shaking, "they're turning on me. Last night, Dad said if everything goes wrong, they'll blame me. They'll say I stole your jewelry. They'll say I manipulated them. Grandma, they're going to throw me under the bus to save themselves. Do you have proof?" She pulled out her phone. Recordings of their fights, texts where they plan to blame me, videos of Mom counting the money from your jewelry. I saved everything. Because deep down, I knew this day would come. I looked her in the eyes. "Chloe, if you testify, your relationship with them will be over. It already is," she whispered. "They chose greed over me." I took a breath. "If you help me seek justice, I'll help you finish high school, deal with your pregnancy, and teach you how to stand on your own 2 feet. But once you choose this side, there's no going back. Are you ready?" She reached across the table. "Deal, Grandma." For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of something real, not revenge. Hope. 3 weeks later, the trial began. The courthouse was packed. Journalists lined the steps. My livestream had made national news, turning my story into a symbol of elder empowerment. Elderly strangers sent me letters. Some showed up in person, sitting behind me like a quiet army. David and Lydia looked like ghosts of themselves, pale, tired, aging years and weeks. They'd spent stolen money on a top defense attorney, but no lawyer could hide the mountain of evidence stacked against them. The prosecution opened powerfully. The recordings, the credit card fraud, the forged mortgage, the forger's FBI testimony. Piece by piece, their scheme unfolded before the jury like a crime thriller. Only this was real. Chloe's testimony was devastating. She stood tall, voice steady. She described every conversation she'd overheard. How they planned to switch my medications. How they discussed how much money they'd get after my institutionalization. How they intended to blame her if it all went wrong. The courtroom was silent except for her words. Even jurors wiped away tears. The defense tried to paint her as a manipulative teen looking for financial support. She didn't flinch. "Yes, I need help," she said firmly. "But I'm here because the truth matters." They planned to destroy my grandmother's mind for money. That's the truth. When it was my turn to testify, I walked to the stand slowly, dressed in my black suit, every step deliberate. "How did you feel when you discovered your family's plan?" the prosecutor asked. "Like the last 45 years of my life had been a lie," I replied steadily. "I sacrificed everything for them. My time, my dreams, my security, and to them, I was nothing more than an obstacle standing between them and a bank account." "And how do you feel now?" I looked directly at David. Free. Free from illusions. Free from manipulation. Free to finally live my life on my terms. The defense attorney tried to paint me as a bitter, wealthy old woman who'd hidden her fortune. "Yes, I have resources they didn't know about," I answered, "but secrets don't justify elder abuse, fraud, or a plot to destroy someone's sanity. Love doesn't give you the right to steal." It took only 5 days. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. guilty on all counts. David was sentenced to 12 years for fraud, conspiracy, and elder abuse. Lydia received 10 years, plus mortgage fraud. As the judge read the verdict, Lydia broke down sobbing. David stared blankly ahead, no remorse left to fake. Reporters rushed toward me on the courthouse steps. "Mrs. Helen, do you feel justice has been served?" one asked. "I do," I said simply, but the real justice wasn't in the courtroom. It was in discovering who I truly am and realizing it's never too late to protect yourself. 6 months later, my life looked nothing like before. I bought a smaller house on the city's outskirts, bright, peaceful, with a blooming garden where Chloe and I spent our afternoons. She finished high school with honors, decided to keep the baby, and began studying law. "I want to protect people like you, Grandma," she told me one sunny morning. David and Lydia sent letters from prison. I didn't open them. Some doors, once closed, should stay closed. At 71, I was finally living my life. I traveled. I hosted dinners with new friends. I mentored other seniors who'd faced betrayal. I even started a foundation to fight elder abuse. Every night, before bed, I gave thanks for 3 things: for Dr. Turner, who had the courage to warn me; for my own strength, which I'd almost forgotten I had; and for the truth, which set me free. Family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by respect, loyalty, and love. And when those are gone, you have every right to stand up, fight back, and reclaim your story. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and share it. Somewhere out there, another Helen needs to know it's never too late to rise.